Welcome back again. In this video, we're going to look at a continuation of the previous video we had initially. And the other video, we're looking at how we can create a queue. We all know that a queue follows the first in, first out principle. So for you to continue, for you to follow along with this video, you must have watched the previous video of how we created a queue. If you hadn't watched this, if you hadn't watched how to create a queue, you're going to find the link to that video in the description so that you can see how we can create a queue, because we can't proceed without having the queue. Okay. So before I go through the introduction, remember we're going to be accessing the queue in this file, so we have to export. Remember, I created a folder called queue, and in that folder I have the queue.js file, which is the queue created in the previous video, and then the wave.js file is the challenge I want to be doing in this video. So before we go through the directions and the description of the problem, let us first export this queue. Okay, we're going to export this queue. We won't need this. I can comment them out. Okay, then we just have to export our class so that can be accessed in the wave.js file. Okay, so to export that file, you write module exports is equal to our class name. Our class name is what? Is a queue. Okay, queue, like that. So after writing this line of code, now our class will be accessible in this wave.js file. Okay, so let's now go into the wave.js file and read through the problem. So let us read through the problem. So we are going to implement a wave function. I don't know how you read it. Is it wave? Okay, wave. We're going to implement a wave function. Wave receives two queues as arguments and combines the contents of each into a new third queue. So in total, we're going to have like 3 queues. Okay, the 2 queues are being received into the wave function as arguments, and then you combine those queues and return a third queue. So that the third queue should contain the alternating contents of the 2 queues. Okay. So now in the third queue, we're going to pick contents from these 2 queues which are being received as arguments, and shall be alternating them. Okay. We're going to be adding them into the third queue in an alternating format. Okay. The function should handle queues of different lengths without inserting undefined into the new one. Okay, that's clear. Do not access the array inside the queue. Only use the add, remove, and pick functions. Okay, the directions are clear enough. So this is an example. I'll create a queue. You create an instance of the queue. Okay, of Q1. Q1 put some stuff 1 and 2. Then Q2 we have high and there. So those 2 queues Q2 and Q1 are being passed into the wave function, which are going to be creating shortly. The wave function receives Q1 and Q2, and then through that you can access the remove and add. You can access everything in the wave function. Alright, so let me hope the description and the direction are clear to you. So let's start coding out this challenge. It's a little bit interesting. Okay, so first and foremost, remember we exported our queue. Okay, so for you to use it in the wave.js file, we have to import it. So import it with this line of code: const queue is equal to require queue, right? Okay, so inside here, remember we should need the third queue, which will be storing the elements from the Q1 and Q2. So for you to do that, you have to create an instance of the third queue. So let us name it Q. Okay, let us name it Q. It's equal to new queue. So this is the third queue. These arguments you're seeing here, source 1 and source 2, those are the 2 queues that are being passed as arguments. right? So after creating the instance of the third queue that's going to store the variables, the other thing we're going to do, we're going to be looping through. Okay, remember one of the conditions that we shouldn't add undefined. Okay, we shouldn't add undefined in this third queue. So in case that one of the queues doesn't have anything to add into the third queue, shouldn't put undefined. Okay, so for us to achieve that, we're going to use a while loop. We're going to use a while loop as long as there is content in queue in the source in the first queue and the second queue. So for you to do that, you're going to say q1 for as long as there is content in q1. So for you to know whether there is content in q1, use the pick method, because the pick method returns that first element. Okay, that's going to be at the top of the queue, or it's in front of the queue. So for you to access that, you just say source1 dot pick. So this pick will return the element that's in front of the queue. Or okay, source2 dot pick. Okay, for as long as those two queues have content, that's when the block inside this while loop will be executed. Okay, in case once the block inside here, it won't be executed in case those two queues are missing content. Okay, so if so write some condition statements here. So if the source queue source1 dot the pick, we don't know what the pick method does, it returns the element in front of the queue. Okay, so if the source one has that element, yes, if it has it, then we'll add that element to the third queue. How do we add that element in the third queue? So we're going to add that element through queue.add. What are you adding? You're adding the source1 dot remove, right? So in source1 dot remove, this one will return to remove the element that's in front of the queue, and then to add it into the third queue. Okay, yeah. So another if statement, if I have content in the second queue, okay, if I have content in the second queue, then I will add it to the third queue, right? So I remove it from the second queue through source2 dot remove, source2 dot remove. Okay, so you see this format, this is what we call an alternating format. It's indeed alternating because at first I'm removing from source1 and I'm adding to the third queue. Then in this block of code, I'm removing from source2 and I'm adding to the third queue. So this is the alternating format that's being required of us to succeed in this challenge. Alright, so at the end, after that while loop, what are we returning? We're just simply returning the queue. Okay, we're just returning that third queue. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Let me hope everyone has understood this solution. Let me hope everyone has understood up to this point. Okay, so to test out our solution, first of all we are going to add. Okay, let us first populate stuff in both queues. So let us first start with the source one, or the q1. So q1 will be equal to new queue. Let me add content there. For the content, let me go here. Okay, let me just copy this. Oh no, I don't need to copy. Okay, so q1 dot add 1, q1 dot add 2. So that's the first queue. Then the second queue const q2, name it as q2 equal to new queue. Okay, so we add, let us add content, q1 add hi, okay, it's a string. Then q2 another stuff, and add q2 dot add there. Okay, so now we have the two queues that can be passed into this function as arguments. Okay, so let us create another variable const. Let us create a queue, the main queue. Okay, so let us call it a result. Let us just create result is equal to, what is the result is equal to? Is equal to the, we are now going to call the wave method. So we're going to call wave and pass in the two arguments. What are the two arguments? And the two arguments are this q1 and q2. So pass q1 and q2, right? So after that, we can now access anything inside this wave method, because this wave method is returning the third queue. So now we can make computations on the third queue. We can access the data in that queue, and we can remove from that queue. We can do almost everything we're supposed to be doing on a queue. So let us first console.log the data in that queue. So console.log the data. We're going to say console.log result.data. So when I console.log result.data, I expect to see 1 first, then I second, then 2, then the string there. So let us test out our solution and see. Remember, it has to be in alternating format. So for you to console.log the data, we need to cd into that file. That folder is q. Remember, we are doing everything in this folder q. Okay, now we're inside there. So we execute node wave.js file. Oh, I'm seeing errors. Let me see. Okay, q.data is not a function. Alright. Q.data is not a function. What is that? Oh, it's here. It's supposed to be q.add. Sorry for that. It was just typo. Q.add. Okay, let me execute this once again and see. Let me first clear the console. Right, so you see now our stuff is in an alternating format. First, okay, so first we added 1 because 1 is being added first here. 1 is being added first, so add 1. After that, we go to q2. q2 has a high. No? Yes. Yes. So we're going to be having this order. So first we shall be having high, then a 2, then a 0, then a 1. So this is an alternating format. Okay, the things are being alternating in the third queue. Okay, so I think that's really good. So let us try removing content and see. Let me say result.remove. So when I say result.remove, I expect 1 to be removed first, if I'm not mistaken. Let me execute this once again with the JS. You see, 1 has been removed first. Okay, so let me access pick also. Pick result pick. In fact, I should be console logging this also. log result.pick should be returning there, because there is in front of the queue. You see, yeah, there has been returned because it's in front of this queue. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So let me hope you've understood this. Let me hope you've understood this challenge. Let me hope you've understood how to make a queue. Let me hope you've understood everything here. In case you didn't understand anything, you can rewind the video and you can replay the video and see how I explain everything, because I tried my level best to explain everything so that you can understand it. So in case you're stuck somewhere, I'm going to post this code on my GitHub. I'm going to put the link in the video description below, so that where you're stuck, you just come and look at my source code. So thank you for watching this video once again. And in the next video, I'm going to be bringing you a data structure that's similar to the queue, but it differs in the way of adding and removing stuff from them. So that's what we call a stack. The stack is a little bit different from the queue. So thank you for watching. I'm going to stop this video here. We'll meet in the next video. We are going to be talking about the stack. Continue liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you. Bye bye.